Hi folks, welcome back. Today we will go over an article that is presumably one of the best articles I've perused concerning circumstance, where a lady in her 40s is grumbling since she's distant from everyone else, has no spouse, and she has no children. She truly gets into the entire mentality that she had behind this, and it got going when she met this extraordinary man, wedded the buddy, and everything was cool for some time. The person was perfect to her, cherished her, treated her well. At the point when she began getting more cash, she began ascending in her profession. Out of nowhere, this guy who was perfect to her wasn't really appealing. He wasn't bringing in sufficient cash according to her, his common position wasn't great for her any longer, the sort of vehicle he drove wasn't really great for her any longer. This is on the grounds that status is everything with ladies. They generally need a person they can gaze upward to, not peer down to. In the end, she jettisons the guy despite the fact that he was perfect to her and adored her. She feels that she can improve in light of the fact that she was in her 20s. It was her prime, and this happens constantly. We have these ladies who go through their prime years buckling down towards their profession, and disregarding the fact that that is the ideal time for them to find folks and spouses in light of the fact that the natural clock will become possibly the most important factor very soon. They get to their 30s or in their 40s, natural timekeepers go off the deep end and no folks need them. They gripe and cry that they're distant from everyone else, and everything is so awful. The title of the article is, "I Left My First Love Since I Figured I Could Improve." Presently I'm childless, alone at 42. It begins by saying, giggling and hitting the dance floor with my life partner at our commitment party. I figured I could really overflow with satisfaction. Encircled by our loved ones, I took a gander at Matthew, and felt I met the man I planned to be with for the rest of my life. That is the very thing that a ton of ladies think at the outset, when they get all up to speed in the feelings of the wedding on the grounds that basically all ladies want to once be the lady of the hour and be the focal point of consideration. Essentially, he was my perfect partner. We were frantically enamored and had our future coexistence delineated. In the first place, we would save to purchase our own home. Then would come a heartfelt wedding service and kids would follow. Everything appeared to be so easy to my gullible 19-year-old self. I egotistically saw myself as the young lady who had everything. So why, after 20 years, do I wind up single, childless, and tortured by the way that I had discarded everything? The main genuine possibility of bliss I at any point had. To her, everyone has a potential chance to better themselves and improve their lives. Let us continue. 8 years after the magnificent commitment party in 1989, I left my dear, committed, steadfast Matthew, persuaded that far out in the distance a superior, really energizing, seriously satisfying life looked for me, yet there wasn't. Presently I'm 42 and I have every one of the features of progress, a high-flying profession, monetary security, and a home in the core of London's popular noticing slope. However, I don't have the one thing I need more than anything, a caring spouse and a family. My dad cautioned me not to discard this affection, but rather I was certain I'd track down Mr. Amazing around the bend. They all do. What number of folks have been unloaded by a lady they dealt with like gold, because she believes that she can supplant you instantly. Presently, she's more seasoned and alone and desolate and grumbling and whimpering and griping that folks would rather not settle down. Indeed, they would rather not reach out and settle with a 30 or 40-year-old. It happens constantly. It's called karma. She proceeds to say, I never found another man who offered all that Matthew did, who comprehended me and cherished me as he did. Somebody who was my closest companion as well as my sweetheart. Today, seeing companions with their children around them torments me, as I am aware I am probably not going to have my very own family. I contemplate the times Matthew and I discussed having children in any event, examining the names we would pick. I can't completely accept that I walked out on such a lot of joy. I'm right here, back on the singles market, searching for the very thing I disposed of with scarcely a retrogressive look long time prior. I realize I can't have Matthew back, and it harms when I hear scraps of data about his life and how satisfied he is. 15 years after I cut off our friendship, he's joyfully hitched. Indeed, really great for Matthew for moving the damnation on. You will see everything she did to disrupt him continuing on. During this season, such countless individuals will evaluate their lives and relationships, contemplate whether the grass is greener on the opposite side. Many will commit an error of satisfaction for fatigue, neglecting to value the beneficial things they have. I would ask the people who are thinking about leaving such wealth to reconsider. How different would things be for me now, assuming I'd possibly pay attention to Matthew when he begged me not to leave him in 1987 tears pouring down his face. I was crying as well, and it tormented me to watch the core of the man I cherished breaking before me. However, I was undaunted. All things considered, on the off chance that a lady's split it up with you, the last thing you could do is sob hysterically before her. You basically act like a man and leave. The entire thing will be extremely appealing. However, many individuals have committed that error, so everyone makes mistakes. One day I could think back and acknowledge I committed the greatest error in my life. I told him as we gripped to one another frantically. Exactly how prophetic have those words demonstrated to be? He said, "I will constantly be hanging around for you." I presumptuously believed that in some way I could place him aside briefly and return to him. She will dump this person, attempt to find something better. However, in the event that it doesn't end up working, I can continuously have this person on loan. Wrong. This "I will constantly show up for you" thing is the most awful thing you can do. Everything you can manage on the off chance that a lady dumps you out of the blue or needs a separation is leave. He'll never think back. Cut up all contact. Matthew and I met when we went to a similar school in Essex, Britain. We began dating not long before Christmas in 1987, when I was 17 and studying for my levels. At that point, he had left school and was filling in as a cruiser dispatch. We got on like a house on a blaze, and our families upheld the relationship. In a little while, we had fallen head over heels. Matthew was heartfelt, however, unbelievably useful, something that would later come to annoy me. He met her coherent and full proportion. Ladies are close to home. It's the manner by which we are. His presents to me that Christmas were a cowskin coat and a couple of warm stockings. After 14 days in the wake of seeing each other for under a month, he proposed. We were going to my little smaller clubman when he yelled at me to stop the vehicle. Frightened something was off base, I slowed down in the center of traffic, and we both leaped out. You're continually going to hear stories like this. For the folks heading out in a different direction, it puts a major grin all over. It's karma, and it will come ultimately. It might take an age for ladies to begin changing and begin settling down in their 20s like they once did. That was a great one to go over, simply seeing what goes on. It's an ideal illustration of what happens in ladies' minds over circumstances like this. That is all there is to it for now. Make certain to remark down beneath and let me in on your thought process. Like the video, share with your companions and buy in. I will converse with you sometime later.